Del Toro, no chance. Del Toro is going to take the final left-hand turn and then he is going to ride to victory. The Maglia Rosa, he is back. And he is intent on winning this Giro d'Italia. He takes a victory from the front in pink. Del Toro is bowing in front of his audience here, in control.
At 144 kilometres, one of the shortest stages of the entire Giro d'Italia. Plenty of climbing, though, involved before a flat approach to the finish line in Cesano Maderno. All smiles at the start line. Giulio Pellizzari greeting the Maglia Rosa Isaac Del Toro. Wout van Aert in good spirits for Visma Lease Bike, trying to work for Olaf Koy. Caden Groves also within a good chance of another stage victory if it were to come down to a bunch sprint. As they rolled off, though, that was far from certain. A long flat approach after the flag dropped at kilometre 0 to the first categorised climb of the day meant that the attacks came thick and fast. Lidl Trek with Dan Houle, but not just Dan Houle as well, Mads Pedersen in the Maglia Ciclamino trying to force a move. Long, straight, flat roads following the River Adda, and Mads Pedersen driving it on as the elastics started to strain, and the closer they got to the first climb of the day at Parlasco, the more likely it was that a group would go clear. In the end, it was an enormous group as the bunch relented and the last counter-attacks across to a 34-rider group at the front of the race. Trouble at the back, though, for Juan Ayuso of UAE Team Emirates, stung by a bee yesterday and clearly in some discomfort, abandoning the race. At the front of the race then, the first of the categorised climbs went to Christian Scaroni of Astana. The first sprint went to Mads Pedersen ahead of Dries de Bont from the breakaway. And then the second climb of the day at Colle Balizio, also going to Christian Scaroni, ahead of Manuele Tarozzi, trying to shore up a third place in the King of the Mountains competition. The peloton quite comfortable with the size and composition of the breakaway, easing up and allowing the 34-rider group to build up a big advantage. On to the final climb of the day, Ravellino. The longest climb, again, it was Manuele Tarozzi going clear, this time taking a teammate in Martin Marcellusi and Remy Rochas with him. And those three riders went through the Red Bull Kilometre in first place as well. Tarozzi taking the lead in the Red Bull Kilometre overall standings. And then they approached the finishing circuit of 12.5 kilometres that they would take on 2 times, full of technicalities. Marcellusi dropped back to the peloton, leaving Tarozzi and Rochas out there, and then just Tarozzi. He tried to stay off the front for as long as he could to add to his total in the overall breakaway prize, a classification that he leads, but eventually Tarozzi too was reeled in as they approached the entry to the circuit. The attacks then came thick and fast. Dorian Godon attacking, Decathlon AG2R's Dries de Bont also on the offensive. But it was Dylan van Baarle who created the decisive move when things really started to split up at the front of the race. Despite the best efforts of all the other riders, eventually a 10-rider group went clear when Dylan van Baarle just opened up a little bit of a gap. 9 riders getting onto his wheel, and from that moment on they would not be caught as the chase group with Pedersen and Van Aert gave up the chase and started to drift back. 10 riders then in contention for the stage victory with the peloton back at 10:35. Nico Dentz cornering better than anyone else and opening up a gap, and the German then committing to the move, handling his bike brilliantly through the chicanes and the technicalities of the circuit. Over the finishing line with a advantage of around about 32 seconds, taking the bell and back out onto the circuit with an advantage that never diminished below 30 seconds.
And Nico Dentz comes to Italy and does it again. A hat-trick of victories for the popular German. Red Bull Border Hansgrohe salvaged something from the Giro, and Dentz does it again.
Red Bull Border Hansgrohe with something to celebrate then after the abandons of Jai Hindley and then Primož Roglic. An emotional victory for the German, a triumph of tactical nous and raw strength. A very emotional Nico Dentz taking his 3rd ever Giro stage win, ahead of Mirko Maestri in 2nd place and Edward Plankett sprinting in 3rd. A day for Isaac Del Toro simply to get through, firmly in control of the race and allowing the breakaway to contest the stage victory. No change in the top 10 on GC. A few more points added to the tally for Mads Pedersen, now almost mathematically secure in the Maglia Ciclamino. And once again, Lorenzo Fortunato, not in the breakaway for a change. He'll be hunting stage wins in the 2 days to come. And Isaac de Toro, one more day in the white jersey.